Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Friday, May 23rd, 2025, and a very mild morning this morning. You probably can't see it in the background there because it's overcast, but it was 11 or 12 degrees or something this morning. In the last few mornings it's been 2, 3, 4. So yeah, Neil, it's funny, yesterday Neil, he just did not want to go for a walk. I had to pretty much drag him along, but today he raced out the door. Didn't you, buddy? All right, on this day, May 23rd, 1970, this has got a bit of relevance considering that this fighter only passed away a couple of days, unfortunately. It's the great Italian, Nino Benvenuti. I think he passed away 2 or 3 days ago. He defended his WBC middleweight title in 1970, I think I said that, in Umago, Yugoslavia, when he knocked out American Tom Bethia in 8 rounds. In 1981, Puerto Rico's Wilfredo Benitez. Sorry, I've started off rough this morning, haven't I? Wilfredo Benitez knocked out American Maurice Hope in 12 rounds in Las Vegas in defense of his WBC 154-pound title. And I think he might have become the first Puerto Rican to win 3 titles or something like that. I can't remember. But I think that was the case. First Puerto Rican to win 3 titles in 3 different divisions. In 2009, Japanese Toshiaki Nishioka defended his WBC super bantamweight title when he knocked out Mexico's Johnny Gonzalez in the 3rd round. That took place in Mexico. So that's what happened on this day. Now, on to the news of today. Now, there was some shots fired yesterday, or the day before, was it? And it involves 2 of Australia's best fighters, George Kambosos and Liam Paro. I had a few people send this to me. Of course, I read it as well and watched it. Liam Paro was interviewed in relation to his upcoming comeback fight after losing that title to Subriel Matias. And he had a little bit to say about George Kambosos. Now, what he said was, and of course, I've just lost it. A moment, I'll bring this back up. And of course, all the boxing tabloids or pages that are all over it. But what he said was, he was interviewed. This is Liam Paro, who said that he would be surprised if George Kambosos didn't see the final bell against Richardson Hitchens. Now, George Kambosos responded with, Liam Paro said he'll be putting money on George not to see the final bell. That is shots fired, isn't it? So George replied, "How un-Australian. Good to see your real colours, mate. I backed you like I back every Aussie. I guess you got jealous, signed with a bunch of cowboys, and the real hate comes out. No wonder you unfollowed me." It's all about that these days. How dare you unfollow me on social media? Good for you guys. God bless. I think it's actually a really good response from George. Now, look, you can probably look at this a couple of ways. The first is that, well, my first reaction was, wow, geez. I remember when George and his father, Jim, FaceTimed Liam after he won that world title to congratulate him. And I thought, well, that's a pretty cool thing to do, especially considering they were around the same weight. And I actually thought way back then, was it a year and a half, whatever it was ago, but I remember thinking, geez, these guys could fight in the near future. But I thought, well, that's pretty cool. They've obviously probably done some sparring together, and obviously Aussies, they've crossed paths numerous times. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty classy from George and Jim. But obviously, that didn't stick because now Liam's had this to say. So I think, yeah, as I said, you could look at it a couple of different ways. One is that, geez, that's really unprofessional by Liam and a bit of a cheap shot at George. But you could also look at it as, geez, maybe is this a little bit of gamesmanship about what might be to come. Now, George, we know especially, is the master at this sort of stuff, the trash talking and building a fight up and generating some interest in a fight. He's the best. One of the best at it is George. So, look, I'm going to probably look at it both ways. I think surprised at what Liam said. If it wasn't planned and maybe, this little, maybe a little mutual agreement that we might just start to get things moving out. I don't know. I doubt that would happen, but maybe Liam is just, on the other hand, in case George wins, just starting to light the fire for a potential fight after that. Liam put him in, and that is really good when you think about it. That would probably be the most logical thing, is that Liam, even though he hasn't had his comeback fight, we'll just be putting that out there so that when George, if he does win that belt, he then thinks back to that and says, all right, let's go. The media are all over it already, so that started. We're all talking about it now, so that started. So maybe that is the underlying tones to it, is that Liam's just put a little stake in the ground to say, all right, it starts now. The build-up to Paro Kambosos starts now. And if George doesn't win, well, we move on to someone else. But in this sport, from what we've found, you've got to wave the flag and say, hey, here I am, I want to fight, because if you don't, then you might miss your opportunity. So, look, on the surface, I would probably agree that not a great comment from Liam Paro. The fact that Jim and George congratulated him last time, and George is right. He has been fully supportive of all Aussie boxers. And whether other boxers or fans, whatever, think George was lucky in the fight with Teofimo Lopez, which I certainly don't. I think he just took his opportunity and fought the fight of his life that night. Plenty of other fighters have done it. I think that he is, besides Tim Tszyu, the biggest name in Aussie boxing. And I know it's going to be, well, hang on, how could you possibly say that with Jai Patara there? It is fact. George, regardless of what you think of him, is still a big, big name in world boxing. And again, I've seen it firsthand. When I was I remember I was in Vegas last year, might have actually been for Tim and Fundora. In the lobby of the MGM Grand, he got mobbed by boxing fans there. 10 times what he would actually get here. I've seen it. I was at the Jai Pataya fight in January, up on the Gold Coast. And you got the sort of passing, oh, g'day George, a few handshakes. But just a bit of respect from most fans. Over there, he got mobbed. Photos, autographs, you name it, selfies, all that sort of stuff. So he's a big name. But he has, in my mind anyway, been fully supportive of all Aussie boxers. So, as I said, I think it might have on the surface look like a little bit of a cheap shot. But again, as I said, Liam Paro probably just being smart by saying, just putting a little jibe out there, putting in the back of George's mind that, hey, if you get past Hitchens, then you know where to find me. So, I don't know. I mean, sometimes the fighters do get prepped, I suppose, when they do these interviews. Liam's a sort of kid, though. Well, not kid. He's a 26, 27-year-old man. But he's a sort of guy that does tell it the way it is. So either way, look, we could either get another massive all-Aussie fight between the two of them if George wins, or it'll just fizzle out and they'll just probably have their barbs over social media for the rest of their careers. I don't know, but yeah, I had a few people send it to me yesterday, and it depends on how you see it. That is boxing. It is boxing, isn't it? But let's just hope that no matter what happens, either they patch it up or they get it on the ring. Either way. All right, on to some other maybe possible news. Now, this was an interesting one. Sergey Bohachuk was interviewed yesterday or the day before, I think it was. And in his opinion, he thinks that Sebastian Fundora will knock Tim Tszyu out. Now, I did mention the other day, I was surprised that Bohachuk brought up Fundora's name as the fighter he would like to fight next. And that was based on, I think I did say that, well, it's surprising, hang on, Fundora's got a pretty tough fight in front of him with Tim Tszyu, and you're already saying that's the fight you want next. Maybe you got to wait till Fundora gets past Tim, but that's obviously why he didn't mention Tim's name, because he thinks that Fundora will knock him out within 6 rounds, by the way. So, that's sort of, I suppose, what happens with the loss to Murtazalyov last year. It's amazing how your stocks can just plummet in one fight. And probably, look, it probably has some merit, of course, because Tim was blown away in 3 rounds. But before that, I don't think Bohachuk would have been speaking that way about Tim. But having said that as well, Tim has the opportunity, hasn't he, to get that mantle back, the aura back. And if he gets past Fundora, you watch all of a sudden he'll be in probably top 10 pound for pound discussions after that. It's just the way boxing works. You're only as good as your last fight or your last big fight. And maybe if Tim does win the belt, he might just say to Boldchuk, well, maybe you go and piss off and fight another champion because I'm not going to give you a shot at my belt. Go face off with Murtazaliev or someone and see how you go. So, yeah, I just thought it was interesting comments. Big rematch maybe on the cards, Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero. Now, there was talk that, logical talk, by the way, that it would probably be Romero versus Devin Haney next, so it makes the most sense. But Oscar De La Hoya has said, no, we want Ryan Garcia. So, yeah, Haney and Romero made the most sense. But then there was also talk that they wouldn't worry about the results. They'd just go into Garcia-Haney 2 anyway. But Oscar De La Hoya said, no, that will not be happening. We're not interested in fighting Devin Haney. It's interesting, too, that Oscar still sees Ryan as the A side and with all the hand. I don't sort of see it that way after that performance against Romero, but that's Oscar, isn't it? He, he backs his fighters, and that's good. But he did say that they just have no respect for Devin Haney. They don't want to fight him. They said that, he said there's a difference between being a great boxer like a Floyd Mayweather compared to a runner like Devin Haney. They were his words. So pretty harsh words from Oscar to a former, undisputed lightweight champion. So he's a little bit in nowhere land at the moment. Not much happening for him. Lopez is not really interested in his, of course, going up. Now we've got Garcia not interested in a rematch. Even though he lost his last fight, he's still not interested in a rematch at the moment. But Garcia, Romero, of course, has obviously been talking about maybe fighting Boots Ennis and whoever else. But it does look like at the moment we could be seeing, Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero too, which when you look at it, does make the most sense out of all those fights, doesn't it? Ryan still is the bigger name, the bigger draw card, and makes sense that he gets that fight out the way and then maybe looks at a Haney rematch then. I don't know if Haney has another win. I'm not sure, but I don't know about Ryan. Judging on that fight against Romero, the first one, it just looked like he was just a totally uninterested fighter who just didn't care. He'd had his big win, he'd made his money, and he just didn't care. Come over this way, buddy. A council worker or something over there has decided to start working. But he's got to make his mind up what he wants to do. Does he want to be a superstar and in sort of name only and not in the ring? I don't know, but a lot of water to go in the bridge for Ryan Garcia. Come on, man, we'll go this way. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Morning. All right, no date on that, by the way, for that fight, but that looks like it's going to happen. All right, come on, buddy. Oh, jeez. Tough morning this morning. People everywhere. We went a little bit later today. Come on, this way. Jesus, come on. Oh, geez. Cars everywhere. We went about half an hour later this morning, and there's people walking dogs and cars and trucks and everything around this morning, so apologies about that. But the Taylor Serrano 3 card has been announced, and I did go through this the other day. Savannah Marshall, when was it? What was the card? Hang on, I'll have a quick look. Where are we? Actually, it's not going to come up, is it? Yeah. All right, so I know a lot of people won't care, but I'm just going to quickly go through it. Savannah Marshall's fighting Shadosia Green for the IBF and WBO titles. The super middleweight titles. Chantel Cameron, she's fighting Canada's Jessica Kamara. That's for that's a non-title fight, that one. Another fight is Ramla Ali and Lila Furtado. So at the end of the day, I'm not really familiar with a couple of those fighters, but there's apparently 4 world title fights on that card. So I'm looking forward to being there for that one, especially Serrano and Katie Taylor, number 3, should be a really, really good fight. Now, if you are looking to go to the Tim Tszyu fight in July, get on this week if you're serious about it and look at your flights, because there is a big USA, Canada sale through Qantas at the moment, direct flights to LA and then, of course, on to Vegas after that. So I'm always watching out for flight prices and all that sort of stuff. And now is the time you can get a flight to Vegas, so LA to Vegas, and for about $1,500 direct at the moment. So this is Melbourne I'm talking about, but I'm assuming Sydney and Brisbane would be similar. So yeah, Melbourne to Las Vegas, Melbourne to LA, LA to Las Vegas for $1,500. Accommodation's pretty good as well. You probably get a room for sort of $200 to $250 a night at a really good hotel. I'm staying at the MGM Grand, and I got that at a really good price as well. But if you're looking at other options, there's the New York, there's the Excalibur, all really close hotels and really good pricing at the moment. So if you are looking to go, then get on. I think the sale ends on the 27th. I'm not sure whether you'll get another crack at it. If you don't get it this week, you might be paying upwards. Friggin' dog again. Come on, let's go. Get past this dog. It's the same friggin' dog every day. Yeah. Okay, we're passing by. Come on. Yeah. But yeah, you will be paying, I would say, between $2,000 and $2.5 grand if you don't get it. Probably actually with the Las Vegas flight thrown in. I'm just thinking of Melbourne, LA. You'd be paying probably about $2.5 grand. So you got a chance to save $1,000 if you get on this week. So if you're thinking about it, don't think too much longer. Get on and grab those tickets. Now, I've been talking about this for a while, and I will be doing it. It might even be later this year, the tours. Now, I've been sort of joking about it. I've been in, I've been out. I've just had a fair bit going on, but I've mentioned it a few times, and I've had a few people contact me about it. There will be an official, well, we'll call it an official tour that I'm going to take over. So what it entails is, this is for all you guys and girls out there who would love to go to one of these big fights overseas. Maybe you've got no one to go with. Maybe you just a little bit unsure how it works. I'm sure a lot of you out there would love to get to a big fight. But as I said, you're not quite sure how it works, where to go, what happens with it all, and how to book everything and all that sort of stuff. Well, that's where I come in. So what I'm going to do is, say you want to go, and look, even if you've got a friend to come with and you want to do it, that's fine as well. But I know a lot of people say, oh, look, I don't really know any other boxing fans that would want to do it, but I'd love to go, and I love seeing your videos, and one day I'd like to do something similar. Well, this is what it's going to be. So what I'm going to do is just give you a set price, and it will include flights, accommodation, fight tickets, and of course my expert tourism skills, tourist guide skills. So look, if you're one of those people out there that would love to go to a fight in Vegas or wherever, then this is what it's sort of aimed at. So the way it would work is I'd be pretty much your travel agent as well. I book the flights. So come here, buddy. So it would be sort of ex-Melbourne. I would do the homework on the different flights and from where you're going to come from. But we'd probably meet in Melbourne, where I sort of go from, and I'd work out the airfares and all that to get to Melbourne, and we'd go ex-Melbourne. So or maybe ex-Sydney, depends. We get a few people from Queensland. We might sort of meet halfway. But either way, it would be either ex-Melbourne or Sydney. We'd fly to. This is if a fight's in Vegas. We'd fly to LA. Get the flight from LA to Vegas, organise, of course, all the transfers to the hotel, book that for you, organise the fight tickets so we all sit together. We go around and see the gyms. We'd obviously go to the weigh-ins and some other sites in Vegas that you might want to do. So it's pretty much me being your tourist guide, I suppose the person that organises there. It's a bit of a combination of a travel agent and a tourist guide, and just a fight fan who's been to Vegas a lot of times, I can tell you, and I can organise everything for you. So that's something you might want to consider, then let me know. But I will put out an entire package, so you won't have to worry about booking this or booking that. It'll just be me saying, all right, this is what's going to cost you. Now, and I know the big question will be, well, geez, what's a ballpark figure? What are we sort of looking at? I know I'd like to do it, but you're talking about all doing everything. But what sort of money am I up for? Well, I think if you would say this Tim Tszyu fight in Vegas, say as an example, you would be up for about $5 grand, and that would include your flights, accommodation, and ticket to the fight for $5 grand, which I don't think is too bad. Having said that, if you went in, say, in September for the Canelo and Crawford fight, you might be up for about 6. It's just sometimes depends on the weekends, whether it's a holiday weekend. In September, it is I think it's the Mexican Independence Day weekend, so you will pay more. So, and the tickets for Canelo and Crawford will be a bit more than the Zoo and Fundora card, and Pacquiao and Barrios on there as well. So that's sort of the way it works. So if that gives you a bit of an indication, then sort of let me know. But I reckon you'd be looking at sort of $6,000 as well for the fights that are in early May as well, the big fights that they do in Vegas, if they do them anymore with now in Saudi Arabia. But that's sort of the way it works. So that hopefully that gives you a bit of an indication. So again, if you for the July fight with Zoo, it'd be $5,000 for flights, accommodation and tickets. And for the Crawford and Canelo fight, you're probably looking at about 6. But you wouldn't have to worry about it either way. I'd put the price up and say, right, this is what it's going to cost, and leave the rest to me. All right, so no matter what time of year it is. So anyway, that's what I'm planning, because I get so many people that say, yeah, we like the videos, and I'd love to do something like that. But again, I'm not sure whether I'd be able to do it myself. Well, just come along with me and whoever else comes, and we'll have a great time. Not to say you got to stick to a schedule, by the way. It'd just be me organising everything. And when you get to Vegas, you can do whatever hell you want. There's no real schedule, apart from maybe a bit of a get together when we first got to Vegas. Might go out for a few drinks and some dinner or something like that. But each day you've pretty much got a free schedule. You can either come with me and do what I'm doing, or you can do your own thing. It's up to you. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. All right, guys, on that note, hope you have a great Friday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.